Okay, Saurabh, thank you. Thank you very much. A very good afternoon to all the participants. I'm able to see some of the names here. Sonia Gupta, Shishpal Rawat, Sunil Kumar, Gulshan Gaba, and a few others, Yashoda, Anurag Kumar. So thank you very much for joining this session on role and decoding the commercial wisdom of the Committee of Creators. It's an interesting topic. I think in this series of webinar, probably this is the last one, I think, right? This is the last one. And thanks, Mr. Saurabh Kailash, for introducing. And I would like to add a few more kind of additions to the introduction. Along with me, on to my left, we have Mr. S. Nandakumaran.
Good afternoon, all.
Mr. Nandakumaran, sir, is Company Secretary by profession. And he worked as DGM Company Secretary in Indian Overseas Bank and recently retired. So in the context of talking about commercial wisdom of CoC, the Committee of Creators, so there cannot be any better person than a banker, a retired banker who was involved in IBC matters. So we are happy to bring the experience and the commercial wisdom, if not the banking wisdom, from Mr. Nandakumaran to this table. And along with me, we have a few other professional colleagues from our team. If I may introduce them here. In front of me, we have Mr. Raghu, who is a lawyer and assisting us in all matters relating to IBC. We take pride in calling him as a mini IBBI because he does a lot of ensuring the prompt compliance, proper compliance of all IBBA related requirements. There are plenty of compliance requirements for an insolvency professional. I hope all of you will agree with me. I also have Mr. Niranjan with me.
Hello, everyone.
Mr. Niranjan is an advocate, and also he is now in the verge of completing postgraduate insolvency professional examination, and he is eligible to become an insolvency professional even at the age of less than 25, I can say. Yes. Less than 25. So this is going to be an interesting profession for him. Whereas most of my colleagues whom I'm not able to see should be in the range of 40 plus 50 around, right?
Yes.
Because 10 years of experience is required. Okay, so we also have Ms. Neha, advocate, and she is a postgraduate legal professional, and she is also part of our team. And they have taken a lot of efforts to prepare our presentation today on sharing our experience. And we have been there in this field for the last 7 years, or at least 7+ years, handling about 16-17 insolvency cases. And more than 125 meetings of commercial, Committee of Creditors might have been there in our,
yes.
We would have conducted more than 100, 150 almost we'll be nearing. So with that, little bit of background in handling the Committee of Creditors, how they interact, how they behave, and how they expect the proceedings, and what they want from the CoC meetings, what kind of results they aim at, and what kind of inputs they bring to the table in the CoC meetings, whether they come prepared after reading the agenda, or they come prepared to ask more time, competent authority, we need approval, e-voting, please give 3 weeks minimum. So that kind of a thing has been seen in many cases. So with that background, I'll be really happy if there could be active participation from the participants today. I'm seeing it more of a passive one right now. So only you are the people who can bring out the best from me and our team. Otherwise, we are speaking to we are talking to a television as of now, a screen, right? Okay, so thank you very much, all the participants. And let's go to the presentation today. Can you please upload? Mr. Saurabh, are you with me there in the team?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you able to see the screen? Presentation is there.
Yes, sir. It is clearly visible.
Clearly visible. Very good. Very good. Fantastic. I think this bright color scheme on decoding CoC's role and commercial wisdom will be probably, making the members to sit up and take notice. Okay. Thank you. So can I go to the next slide, Ranjan?
Next slide.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Already, I think an introduction has been given about our background. So, okay, we can proceed to the next one. About the team members, as I briefly introduced about Mr. Nandakumaran, Mr. Raghu, and Mr. R.S. Niranjan. Mr. Niranjan also is a postgraduate in law, and Sneha. We have other few members who have participated in this preparation process. Okay, so now I just wanted that before we get into the subject about the IBC ecosystem, am I audible, sir, to the participants?
Yes, sir.
Yes, audible.
Okay. So IBC ecosystem has been presented here, where we have, the 4 pillars. People used to call it as a 4-pillar IBC setup, but interestingly, curiously, we have added a few more pillars. Any pillar adds to the strength of the edifice, the structure. So I thought a few more pillars, why not we add? So adjudicating authority is one pillar, IBBI, IPAs, IUs, and also insolvency professionals. Probably, I think they can be taken together as one pillar. Registered valuers, also one of the service providers, right? But we have shown them separately here. Committee of creditors is, of course, a very important functionary in taking decisions. We have added another kind of structure here, that other creditors. The reason being, when CoC is constituted, it's only in most of the cases consisting of financial creditors, unrelated financial creditors. But of late, we find a lot of disputes, a lot of voice being raised. That other creditors, why they should be ignored? Why not they also come and be part of the decision-making system? That is a committee of creditors. So that way we added this category, other creditors. And on the right, you can see the appellate authority and also Supreme Court. Right. Okay. Do you see anybody missing in this listing of the pillars or the important functionaries in the IBC ecosystem? Do you find anybody missing? Any of the participants may just answer this.
Actually, only the team slide has been visible for the participant. Slides are not moving.
Oh, okay. Probably, I think we need to refresh.
There's no S.
Ma'am, is it now updated?
So it's about the team only.
Oh, okay. ஒரு தடவை வெளியில வந்து பண்றீங்களா? You just come out and then do it out. Or you can refresh to another network. I think they are saying that the previous screen only is appearing. It's not refreshed. It's not refreshing to the next one. Is it probably because of the network or?
So it's been started from IBC ecosystem.
You are able to see now, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I was just making a query that do you see anybody missing from this list of people in the ecosystem apart from adjudicating authority, IBBI, IPs, insolvency professionals, entities, registered valuers, committee of creditors, and the other creditors? Apart from them, do you find anyone is missing here?
Information utility.
It is there, no, on the second line. Good, you observed, but it is there in the second line. I use information utility. As on date, I think there is only one IU. Am I right, Raghu? So that is why I did not put IUs, but there is one utility. Well, if you really follow the IBC ecosystem and the last 7 years, a lot of delay is happening due to litigation and cases filed against the process, because the most aggrieved person in the IBC process is the existing owners of the companies, right? The promoters. You can say shareholders, majority shareholders, principal shareholders, because they started the company and they promoted the company and brought it up. But finally, because of various reasons, the company has come into the IBC process. So they feel that, the company is being snatched away from them. The company is completely, delinked from the promoters, and the insolvency professionals assisted by CoC, they run the company because the powers of the board of directors are suspended. So I felt that they are also an important kind of set of people, and to what extent IBC recognizes their importance is a subject matter of question. I thought that their role is very important in the IBC process to become a successful exercise. Well, yeah, we'll go to the next one slide. Yes, okay. Is the screen now refreshed to show the roadmap?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the roadmap for the session today is, why and under what circumstances the committee of creditors or the financial creditors take control of the corporate debtor, and what kind of a role difference or what kind of a better, in terms of knowledge, experience, and the professional bandwidth they have to call them as an intelligible differentia kind of creditors as compared to operational creditors. And what is the role of committee of creditors in the IBC process, and what kind of commercial wisdom is expected of them, and are they doing justice to the expectations and the decisions, judgments, orders issued by various courts on this particular topic. This is what we are going to discuss today. And so we will be having some kind of an interaction on this discussion, and I'll be really happy if the participants also are active. The very topic today on the role of commercial role and commercial wisdom of CoC. If I talk about the role, there is a very, very passive kind of a participation in the meetings of CoCs in many cases, what I have observed. And wherever there is a consortium of lenders, 6 bankers, 7 bankers are there, other than the leader of the consortium, the rest of the bankers are extremely happy to say, I go with what the lead bank says. I go with whatever they are saying, I'm fine. Nothing else. No other kind of a discussion takes place except a very few cases. So I was just thinking that in this today's participation as well, in this seminar, I think people are not here only for the CPE hours, also to gain some kind of knowledge. So I would be very happy if there is a participation, active one. That'll be really nice. Okay, go to the next one. We cannot do it from here. So here is a kind of a concept, probably the participants might be well aware, equity versus debt. Okay, so when we say this equity versus debt kind of a situation, in a normal business parlance, in a normal business situation, these two are complementary, complementing each other. The equity takes the first step and debt follows the equity, strengthen the financial strength of the company or capability of the company, and the operations of the company starts, and assets are built, assets are created with the equity plus the debt. And most of the time, there is a kind of a leverage happening. So people say that 3 times of equity, the banks can lend. Am I right, sir? Yes, sir. So debt equity ratio, people call. So we leverage it. So the lever works to some extent. Sometimes people use the lever to a greater extent, and it's called, highly leveraged kind of a situation where the debt is much larger in terms of the equity in proportion to the equity, where finally they are not able to manage the debt overtakes the equity. So as long as debt is under control, as long as debt is serviced, debt is a kind of undisturbing ally. But the moment equity fails to take care of the debt service requirements, and the debt becomes dangerous, the debt becomes disturbed, and they start disturbing the equity. They start creating situations difficult for the equity to handle. So the debt becomes difficult, the debt becomes danger for the equity once there is a default by the equity. That means the promoters or the organization, the company is not able to pay its debts properly. Well, if this is the situation, Indian IBC ecosystem says the debt will take over the company if equity is not able to service its debts. So that is why people say committee of creditors takes over the company, or under IBC, the directors become powerless. The powers of directors are suspended immediately. And it is a creditor-driven exercise completely under IBC. Well, there can be an exception. That exception is perhaps pre-pack insolvency regime, correct? Yes. Pre-pack insolvency for MSME corporates envisages a kind of a situation where there is no disturbance to the management of the company. The corporate debtor is managed by the same kind of people. But in general, other than this pre-pack, PPIRP, the debt takes over. That means the creditors take over and run the show. And the borrower, the promoters, the equity shareholders, they are asked to go aside. They are asked to step aside from the process. Elsewhere in other countries, people are saying in US, in UK, the system is now more of the promoters taking the cue, promoters taking the initiative, and the debt is assisting them for a revival process. So what happens in India, many of the cases, you take commercial operations, or you take day-to-day social kind of movement or interactions. Okay. So there is a small kind of a network-related issue. So I think we are just trying to take to connect with a better network. Just excuse me for a minute, then we will rejoin quickly. 1 second. Continue. I hope the screen is visible now to the participants. Sir, Mr. Rajiv.
Yes, it is, sir. Yes, it is.
Okay. So we are talking about equity versus debt. So there are situations where the insolvency resolution process is completely debtor driven. That is also happening in places like US and UK. But in India, once the company gets into IBC, the creditors take over the control. The creditors in control, they drive the process. They are asking the management, the directors to step aside. This is what we were discussing. What is the reason? Predominantly, if you see, the compliance levels are very poor in a country like India, where even if you take day-to-day instances like traffic signal violation, or you take any other kind of compliances, payment of taxes, GST, tax liabilities, whether they are correctly being paid or not voluntarily. So those kind of non-compliances have been really horrible. And there are instances of frauds, loan defraud, so many instances. Apart from, whatever we are saying today, there is no kind of geographical linkage we can make today because of the cyber criminal and artificial intelligence. All those things are doing. People sitting from Indonesia or Cambodia or from Vietnam, they are looting people in Chennai, in Mumbai, or in Delhi, making all kinds of cyber crimes. This is all happening. But coming back to this commercial defaults which are happening, instances of defaults in India are definitely huge as compared to developed economies. So there is a system of reliance on the companies, and it is only because of certain uncontrollable, unforeseen reasons beyond their control, the default is coming. There is a problem, there is a pain. So that is why in those countries, they are allowing the company to continue to be under the control of the existing promoters, and the creditors, the banks, come and offer some kind of assistance to bring back the company on track. So that is the system prevailing in other countries. But in India, if you are allowed to continue the possession, continue the control of the existing promoters, I think that is what we have seen in SICA, Sikh Industrial Companies Act, Regulations Act, where the company will come into BAFR. It will still be under the existing management only, and the assets will be stripped off. And after some time, you won't see any asset, but the company will be enjoying some kind of immunity from certain things, certain liabilities and actions. So that did not work. So you are trusting somebody, you are relying upon somebody, who is not trustworthy, who is not actually fair, equitable, then it does not help the whole system. So it's too early to suggest that the companies under insolvency can continue to be under the existing set of promoters. So I think in one of the cases, Raghu, I think Supreme Court would have made a comment that the paradise of defaulters is no more there.
Defaulters paradise lost.
Defaulters paradise is lost, right? I think Sanand Meratia wrote the book. Huh? Okay. So that's the kind of comments which have been made by the highest court in India, stating that the persons who are the cause for the defaulting situation or for the downfall of the company should not be entrusted with the management again. So that is why Section 29A was brought. So the Section 29A, I think Raghu, you wanted to say something. So the 29A is the biggest kind of entry barrier for the existing promoters to step into the IBC process. So they are completely pushed away from entering into the IBC process or involving themselves. So the concept of related party in India is always seen with a tainted kind of a parlance, with a jaundiced eye. A related party means definitely this guy would have made some kind of a unfair transaction, unscrupulous transaction. He would have made some money. He would have made some fraudulent things. Some preference would have been given to related parties. So this is a situation prevailing in India. So that's the concept why we thought equity versus debt. We'll move to the next screen, please. We are not having too many slides. So we would like to continue our presentation and probably engage in some kind of dialogue or interaction with the participants. Okay. So when the promise to repay the debt promptly by the equity is broken, then the financial creditors start flexing their power, start flexing their muscles. So, but you can also say that, you know, the bankers do not ask for a share in profit when the company is making huge profits. They don't ask. They ask only their debt, servicing like interest and repayment. Beyond that, they cannot ask anything more. Neither the promoters or the company can offer as well. Why they should? Because equity is taking the risk. Okay. So when equity fails, the debt seeks to take control, restructure, revive company, failing which they go to SARFAESI Act or IBC. So this is how the normal situation happens. Yes. Intelligible differential. Yeah, this is one concept where the financial creditors, they are associated with the company right from the beginning. So they know the industry, they give the term lending or credit facilities, they appraise the project, viability of the project, and they also study the risk factors, whether they should lend money to that company or not. The promoters will be very keen because they are putting only 1/4 of the total investment. The 3/4 investment comes from the financial creditors, from the banks. So the banks generally analyze more and then come to some kind of conclusion that it is worth extending loans to this company. So they are having slightly, a better kind of an understanding than the promoter himself. Because many cases, the promoter will ask for money. The bank will say, no, this loan is not viable. I will not be able to give the loan. Or you bring more money, my exposure cannot be 3/4, it can be 1/4. Or you give better collaterals, you bring more security. That kind of conditions come later. So this kind of analysis is possible by financial creditors, that too organized financial creditors like banks, both public as well as private sector banks. Even foreign banks are also here, and they also put a lot of kind of due diligences before taking an exposure. And they would have definitely explored all other options before coming to IBC. They would have asked restructuring proposals from the company, or they would have even asked for OTS, one-time settlement, or they would have even exercised their powers to change the management. This kind of things they can do it, and they are capable of exercising these options. And FCs to have bandwidth to assess revival potential. Yes, this is again the another aspect. When there is a default, things have not gone well. It was expected that the company will do well, but it did not go well. But at this point in time, again, FCs have the wherewithal or the kind of a bandwidth capability to assess whether revival is possible or not. Otherwise, you put a full stop. Why to unnecessarily continue with the pain? So this is where the intelligible differentia of the financial creditors having an edge over other creditors. For example, this particular term phrase, intelligible differentia, was used in the Swiss ribbon case much earlier, because the Swiss ribbon came to be acknowledged as a very important judgment, and intelligible differentia was used. I'm informed by our team that this was, I remember IBBI also came out with a complete line-by-line analysis of the Swiss ribbon case. Yes, please move on. Yes. Now we get on with the role of committee of creditors. Then we will get with more about the commercial wisdom. The role of committee of creditors in IBC is given, if not, in one place, in many places, the role has been suggested, mentioned. So one is in the IBC context, IBC in the sense the code, and the role is also envisaged in the regulations also. Some of the regulations very clearly say what is the role of a committee of creditors. Okay, and committee of creditors, as we said, that it is a financial creditor, unrelated of them, and where there is no financial creditor in a company, the operational creditors constitute the CoC. I think that also probably our participants may be aware. In that case, if so many operational creditors are there, how many of them can be there on the CoC? Can all of them be there, or only some of them can be there? Any idea? So I think there is a provision, the regulation.
18 operational creditors. First
18, the top 18 operational creditors will constitute the committee of creditors. And apart from this 18, if there are representatives of workmen and employees, two of them also, one each from this category, can also join the committee of creditors. Okay, well, and in any other situation where financial creditors are there, but the other debts, the operational debt is constituting more than 10% of the total debt, then a representative from operational creditors is also stated in the code that they have a right to participate in the meetings of CoC, to be invited to the proceedings of the CoC. But if you ask me whether they form part of the committee of creditors, no. Am I right?
Yes.
So they don't form part of the committee of creditors, but they are allowed to join the discussions, maybe participate and give their suggestions, but they don't have a voting right as well, much as the directors of the company are allowed to join the discussions of the committee of creditors. Okay, so we will just highlight some of the kind of role envisaged in the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code and also in the regulations. I'm not going into an exhaustive kind of a thing of the role, but what is the critical important role, those kind of activities where the CoC, what it can do, what it should do, we will just see for a few slides. Please go to the next one. In general, you can see that the CRP process is driven by the CoC and under the leadership of the insolvency professional. A lot of responsibilities are entrusted on the insolvency professional and also on the CoC. So during CRP, if you see, a lot of activities happen, like starting from beginning, once the CoC is formed, and thereafter you have the appointment of RP as the next step, and also to take control, custody, what kind of a role, envisaged for the CoC, and also to provide a lot of information to the IRP and RP. And thereafter, you have the valuation exercise, discussion with the valuers, and criteria for expression of interest, and calling for the RFRP, evaluation matrix, resolution plan, and also avoidance transactions. Even though some responsibilities are on the shoulders of insolvency professional, but finally it gets washed by the CoC. And of late, I can see that the same CoC members constitute, the stakeholders committee in the liquidation process. If it goes before, a regular stakeholders consultation committee is formed within 60 days of liquidation, the same CoC also goes there. So if you can see on the screen, CRP finally ending up with the resolution plan stage. And, if it is approved, well and good by the CoC, it goes to the adjudicating authority. And thereafter it gets implemented. So until then, there is a role by the CoC, what it should do while approving the resolution plan, what it should do if the plan is not up to the mark or it is not compliance with the code and its provisions. And in case there is no resolution plan received, nobody seems to be having any interest on this company, then it goes to liquidation. So then that decision also is being taken by the CoC. So around this, decision spots where all this decision is being taken, CoC's role is very crucial. Okay, can go next. Particularly in relation to approval of a resolution plan, a lot of cases have come, and whether the CoC has exercised its commercial wisdom properly or not. This goes even in liquidation also. There is a provision of a scheme under Section 230 of Companies Act, which is also kind of almost like a resolution plan. I think in one interesting case where the CoC approved, I think it is in Vallal RCK case, it was a company in liquidation, right? Company in liquidation,
No,
not in.
no, it's in CRP. Liquidation application would have been filed.
Okay.
Subsequent to filing of liquidation application, the promoter would have given a settlement. OTS.
Okay. That's the OTS problem.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So there, a decision of the CoC was turned down by the NCLT and again upheld by the NCLAT that the decision of CoC is not correct. It would have been turned down. But when it went to Supreme Court said that whatever CoC has decided, you don't have any role to interfere with that. So approval of resolution plan is actually a very important step involving role of the CoC. And also reliefs and concessions. Lot of reliefs and concessions are being sought in the resolution plan. So how the CoC views such reliefs and concessions, whether it is being recommended by them or not, is also of late a question. Okay, next one. So under IBC, important role which we could see in a broad spectrum, it would be like appointment of RP and driving the CRP, they have role in valuation, information memorandum, eligibility criteria for EOI, request for resolution plan, evaluation matrix, approval of resolution plan after ensuring viability, feasibility, and also ensuring that interest of all stakeholders has been taken care. And a few more items could be there. For example, dissenting creditors, financial creditors, what should be amount provided. And sometimes, it's a role of both RP as well as the CoC to ensure that, the operational creditors are paid, before the other creditors are being paid. So that kind of requirements are all now the role of the CoC during the CRP. In addition to this, please go to the next one. In addition to this, they also have to play a role in the avoidance transactions applications. Even though the RP is required to form an opinion within as many number of days as prescribed under IBC, but today I can see the amendments are saying that at the time of CoC approving the resolution plan, they should say how the avoidance transaction shall be pursued, and in case any money is received, how that money will be distributed. I think, Raghu, this is a requirement both under CRP as well as in liquidation.
Yes,
right. It has been there because I think the issue of functus officio came in some of the cases,
yes,
right?
Yes, sir. After completing the resolution process, also the CRP also, this buffet transaction, the litigations on the buffet transaction continues, and where the role of RP is restricted because he is functus officio.
Yeah.
So that is why they have amended the regulation stating that the resolution plan has to provide for the how this buffet transaction has to be dealt with.
Yeah.
After the approval of the resolution plan and how it is to be distributed.
Yeah, correct. Okay, Niranjan, with your experience now, when there is no resolution plan received in the CRP process, and or there is no possibility of a continuation of the business itself, the company itself is defunct for 6-7 years, nothing has been happening. And also of late, we are having many cases like there is no traceability of asset for the company. And in that case, can the CoC take a call to go quickly for liquidation straight away without even going for an expression of interest?
Yes, sir. Even the
Okay.
first CoC meeting, they can go for liquidation directly, sir. That is the commercial wisdom of CoC, which is upheld by Supreme Court.
Which is upheld.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So I think I've seen a few cases where it is challenged by the promoters.
Yes, sir.
The promoters will say this RP and this CoC
Collided.
colluding amongst themselves, straight away taken my company, which has been brought up with so much of care and efforts, strive, all those things. Then suddenly this company is brought into liquidation and value destruction has happened.
Yes, sir.
I built the company, these people are destroying it. So these kind of challenges have come.
Yes,
I think that is why the matter went to Supreme Court. Okay. So you are saying that even in the first meeting
CoC
itself,
meeting, yes, the first
there is no
CoC
need for an RP. So IRP then liquidate.
Though the regulation states that the CoC can decide for a liquidation at any time during the CRP process, but in many cases, the NCLAT has questioned that how the CoC come to a conclusion without floating an EOI, how they determine that nobody is interested in the company. So that question is there. So I think it is better that we float the EOI, and if no interest is being shown, then the CoC can take a call on going for a liquidation.
Okay.
So without publishing an EOI and getting the public information relating the interest relating to the company from the takers, other business takers, taking a call by CoC itself will be questioned by the NCLT in many cases.
Correct. So I think even if there is nothing in the company and no assets and no traceability, it would be better to go for an EOI at least, the preliminary stage. EOI is a preliminary stage.
Yes.
If nobody is interested in the company, then you go for a straight away the liquidation process. So the role of the CoC comes under this head. Also, we have a few situations under Section 28 where it required the prior approval of the CoC, that is RP, before he takes any step, which are all listed under Section 28. It has to obtain prior approval of the CoC. Sneha, do you have any idea what kind of situations in Section 28 broadly?
Yes.
Yeah.
CoC, for approval of CoC for certain actions under provision 28 deals with this. Raise any interim finance in excess of the amount may be decided by the CoC in the meeting. Create any security interest over the assets of the corporate debtor. Change the capital structure of the corporate debtor, including way of issuance of additional securities, creating a new class of securities, or buying back or redemption of issued securities in case of the corporate debtor is a company. And to record any change in the ownership interest of the corporate debtor, and undertake any related party transactions, amend any constitutional documents of the corporate debtor, delegate its authority to any other persons, dispose or permit the disposal of shares of any shareholder of the corporate debtor or their nominees to third parties.
Okay, once again, thank you. Now, these are all situations which have been listed in Section 28. I find that some of them are not even practically happening. For example, the company wants to raise capital or buyback or something. I don't think such situations do happen. Interestingly, even for changing the auditors of the company, or if there is any director, there is a resignation of a director from the company, and only 2 directors were there, one has gone. In many cases, the directors, they don't want to continue on a company which is in IBC. Now, to put another company, another director in the company, it requires the prior approval of the CoC. Even for a compliance purpose, minimum 2 directors are required in a private limited company. Even for that, there is a CoC prior approval is required. So these are all certain situations. But in the whole ambit of role, probably this sharing of information should have come in the top, I think. At the beginning of the process, CARP process, an amended provision of IBC says that the CoC should share what are all the information available with them to the IRP. I think that's by way of a regulation, I think.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes.
Okay, please go ahead. Okay, so procedural matters, how the meeting should be conducted, how the voting takes place. So this kind of role is also specified for the CoC under various regulations. Also, approval of the CARP cost. If the cost is not approved by the CoC, then it is not eligible to be called as the CARP cost. So that is, how it is treated in a resolution plan, priority payment. So it cannot get eligible unless it is approved by the CoC. Similarly, in the process of RFRP issuance, where the company has got multiple assets, and it may not be possible for one single buyer to take the entire company, give a resolution plan. There is a provision that the sale of assets can happen in parts and in parcels, separate parcels, with the approval of the CoC. And while approving the resolution plan, what are all the contents in the resolution plan, covenants, terms, conditions, also the CoC is supposed to go through and then clear the resolution plan before it is being approved by them. And in many cases, the contents of the resolution plan, people say it is conditional. So when there is a conditional resolution plan, it is not likely to get an approval from the adjudicating authority, because the person can always pull out of the resolution plan stating that I put this condition, it has not happened. So those are all the areas where role of ROC comes very important. And preemptive steps in case of liquidation. This is one area where we found, a lot of amendments. I think it is all in 39A, B, C, D
Yes, sir.
regulations, which says that in the event the company goes into liquidation, even though the CoC may be considering a resolution plan, but still they want these provisions also to be followed, that preemptive steps, if it is going to be in liquidation, who will be the liquidator or how much will be the liquidator fees, and whether the assets, whether the company can go for a scheme under Section 230, bunch of assets, how the assets should be disposed of. These are all part and parcel of the regulations where the role of our CoC has been specified. And the convening of CoC meetings, I think on this point, Raghu, there was an amendment stating that if 33% of the voting shareholders ask for a meeting, RP is bound to convene a meeting.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If it is lower than 33%, then what happens? Even then, he is bound to convene a meeting?
No, it is in the opinion of the RP, whether he is required to convene a meeting. It is in the opinion of the RP, he can convene a meeting.
Okay.
But in the case of 33%, minimum more than 33%, if the request is received,
Okay.
then RP shall convene the meeting.
Okay.
He doesn't have any option.
Okay. Okay. And RP himself can convene a meeting under
Whenever, yes,
circumstances,
yes.
whenever it is required. Okay.
Now the meetings also, since the amended regulation says that every meeting has to be conducted within 30 days. There is a scope that a meeting is to be conducted for every 30 days.
Yeah, correct. Otherwise, the frequency of this
Yes.
cannot be there. Yeah. Mr. Raghu, what is this? Okay. I think this is a case where Janak Jagjeevan Shah RP versus CoC of Rainbow Infra Build Private Limited, enclave New Delhi, 28th October 2024. Here, I think the important thing, I think we were talking about the liquidation, directly we can go or not. CARP having come to an end and liquidation has not been ordered, no further steps are required to be taken by the RP. CRP proceedings may be treated to be closed and RP can intimate the ROC for striking off the name of the corporate data from the register of the companies. Actually, in this case, the situation was slightly different. Even though the CRP came to an end, liquidation was not at all ordered. And there was no money in the company. There was nobody willing to pay the fees for the RP. So RP would have stood before the NCLT and NCLAT. What I should do? I'm not getting paid, and company is not there, assets are not there, no creditor is interested, no CoC member is there. What should be done? I think NCLAT would have stated that go and file with the ROC and get the name struck off from the registers of the ROC. That is the thing. Next page, please. Role of exercise of commercial wisdom in considering and approving the resolution plan for the corporate data. This is an important, most important area. How and when a resolution plan can be approved by the CoC. Of late, you can see that earlier certain resolution plans, when they are presented before the CoC, they used to rank the resolution plans like H1, H2, H3 or something like that. And I myself remembered that in one case, we shortlisted only 2 resolution plans because all others were way behind in the numbers. They were not even willing to pay 60-70% of the highest resolution plan. So they were completely off the mark. So we used to take only the H1 and H2 and finally pitch them against each other, H1, H2. And who is the person offering the most favorable terms, for their resolution plan will be finally taken to the CoC and voting will take place and they will be approving that. CoC will be approving the resolution plan, which will be the only one choice before them because it has been decided by them in the meetings, CoC meetings, and finally they will be voted. So it's a kind of a foregone conclusion. So that's what it was happening. But later in the regulations, the changes were introduced where the CoC has to exercise their commercial wisdom and take for approval each of the resolution plan which has been received and cleared by the RP to say that they are compliant resolution plans. Raghu, if you have received quite a few number of resolution plans, and some of them are having a defective kind of compliance. For example, there is a 29A non-compliance is there. He's ineligible. And in another case, he's putting some condition in the resolution plan. If only you give so much, my plan is valid. Otherwise, it's not valid. So those plans also should be put up before the CoC?
It is better, sir. Though the regulation says that the RP is required to place before the committee the compliant resolution plan. In many cases, NCLT cases, it is observed that the RP is duty bound to place all resolution plan with his observations.
Correct.
So it is better for the RP to place all resolution plans, whether compliant or non-compliant, but with the observations, whether it is compliant or not, that will be better.
Okay. So on this topic of approving a resolution plan, we recently had one instance where the Supreme Court had extended the time for the CARP. Actually, this company, interestingly, is in CARP for 5 years, continuously 5 years. It is still in CARP. Okay. Now, matter went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court gave a lifeline of 6 months under Article 142. What is Article 142? Can I say principles of natural justice?
Yes.
Oh, sir, it is the powers of the Supreme Court.
Inherent powers.
of the Supreme Court.
Inherent powers, but it cannot be just like that used, right?
Yes, sir.
No, it cannot be just like that used. There should be some justification
Justification.
in the interest of getting justice.
Okay, it's not natural justice, but it is justice. Okay, so under 142 article, they gave 6 months more time for the company, which has been continuously in CARP for 5 years. Okay, now a question came that a regulation is stating that plan should be filed with the NCLT No, RP shall endeavor, right?
Yes,
Is it RP shall
Yes.
endeavor or CoC
Yes.
shall endeavor?
RP, sir. The
RP
resolution
shall-
professional shall endeavor to submit the resolution plan approved by the CoC at least 15 days before the maximum period of completion of CRP.
Okay. This is 39A6B or something, right?
39(4).
39.4.
4.
Regulation 39, sub-regulation 4. It says that RP shall endeavor to submit a resolution plan approved by the CoC 15 days prior to the ending of the CRP.
At least 15 days.
At least 15 days. Now, you please tell whether the CoC has a role. Suppose they say that, I need more time for approval. No, I cannot give the approval before 15 days. I don't have much time. So you file the resolution plan within the last day, not 15 days prior, within the last day. So there are certain situations like this, how the CoC takes the call. What is the role played by the CoC? So anybody can tell me something on this, whether RP should put his foot down and say that, no, 15 days before you have to approve and give me the plan, then only I can go and file it with NCLT. Or can he say, no, it is only shall endeavor, it is written. Okay, so it need not be a mandatory kind of a thing. There are always provisions like directory, mandatory, statutory, anything else is clarificatory. So those kind of situations are there. Any takes from our participants on this 15 days concept? Okay. So according to me, even that concept of 15 days was envisaged earlier, that within this 15 days, the NCLT, the adjudicating authority, will be able to consider and approve or reject the plan. Originally, the intention was like that. Today, that 15 days have gone with the wind. It is 15 months or even few years are also it is pending for approval by the NCLT. So that is a kind of a situation. Okay. Now, also an important provision, Regulation 30B, audit of CRP process. What is that audit, Niranjan? They are talking about the CRP process during the time. Is it about the entire process or cost involved or anything?
The entire process, sir.
Okay. If you can also share.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. This provision have been introduced in September 2023, that any member of the committee may propose an audit of the corporate return. It is for the entire corporate return. It is not for the CRP process.
For the entire
Corporate entire company. Along with the objective, scope, and estimate of cost, time frame, and name of the proposed auditors.
Because I think the situation they have talked about, they have thought of it is, in many cases, audit might not have been done by for the company at all.
Yes.
I think we have seen in one of our case, the last audited financial statements are for 2016-17, right? Afterwards, nothing has happened. Company has come into CRP now. And if you go back for 7 years, there is no records at all. So in those cases, the CoC can take a view, appoint an auditor, and get the entire things audited, right?
Yeah.
At least it will bring out what is the current state of, the scheme of things. Am I right, sir? I think this is an enabling provision where the CoC can exercise this option given under the regulations. Sale of non-core assets, I think it has been there. Many of the cases also where the liquidator or the RP can dispose of some of the assets so long as the security interest is not compromised, right?
They are not unencumbered.
Unencumbered assets,
Yes.
only they can
Yes.
do that. And there also, I think there is some cap on the value, up to 10% of the amount or something.
Yes.
There is some kind of a requirement is there. Okay. We now come to the positive aspects of the role of CoC. We have seen in many cases the banks, the CoC members are able to leverage their relationships with their existing clients who are doing well and who are in the industry, the same industry, or who are able to expand their industrial operations, and where this asset of this corporate data under IBC, it can be acquired by them. So this is the kind of thing where a CoC can exercise a positive role. And also being associated with this company, the financial creditor, even though the persons handling this account might have been transferred, changed many times, they have a better understanding. I would request Mr. Nandakumaran, sir, from your experience, the officers and the people who are dealing with exercise where they sanction some loans and disburse the monies, they are often transferred, right? After 2 years or after 3 years.
Yes, sir.
So, but still the files will be there and files will speak, right?
Yeah.
So they can be able to understand the difficulties and also help the resolution applicants also, right? What kind of additional inputs they can give. For example, assets are there, land is there. So how much of land has been there? What kind of encumbrances? I think in this way, the CoC can give some kind of a positive push to the whole process. Am I right, sir? Am I saying the right thing?
Yes, yes.
Okay, ability to negotiate with the RAs, with the resolution applicants. So most of the cases, the bankers should be in a position to negotiate with the resolution applicants. But in my experience, I have found in many cases, we may have to bat for them. We may have to play their role and negotiate with the RAs that this is what their expectation. You are nowhere near their expectation. Why don't you improve it? So these kind of things we have seen. So maybe participants here in this program, do you have any experience on negotiation skills of the CoC? I think all the participants are all insolvency professionals, right? So Rajiv? Ms. Vandana Pankaj? Yashoda ma'am, are you there? Okay.
Sir, I am
So-
here, but I am not handling these kind of resolution plans. I am only handling the voluntary winding up.
Oh, okay. Voluntary liquidation.
Yes, sir.
Section 59.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So there, probably I think there is no requirement of a CoC at all, right? Okay, good. In fact, in voluntary liquidation also, quite a few dimensions, new dimensions were happening. Vandana ma'am, you are from which place, ma'am?
Sir, Delhi, Malviya Nagar.
Delhi?
Yeah, Malviya Nagar, South Delhi.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Huh? Only bankruptcy, Shoda ma'am. Okay. Okay, good. So we were talking about the positive roles of the CoC, implementation of resolution plan through monitoring committee. I've seen people from the CoC going, out of the way, to work along with the resolution applicants to see that they are also benefited by the process quickly. And this I could see during the period of COVID. So during COVID, when suddenly there was a lockdown and business was completely coming to a halt, a resolution plan which was approved, I think in the month of January 2020. So January 2020, the plan was approved, and immediately thereafter there was a stay on the plan approval by the High Court. So people were jumping to High Court those times. From NCLT, they will immediately go to High Court and take a stay or whatever they want. So of late, I think the trend has come to a complete reduction. Is there or
Yes, sir.
absolutely there is?
Because High Court is pushing the matters to NCLT.
Yeah. You can come here. So high courts, of late are not encouraging any kind of interference in the NCLT IBC process. You go to the right forum. That's what they have been giving a direction. So in that case, I was describing, please, Ma, thank you. So I have also joined by Ms. Ilamati, who is the company secretary as well as advocate. I hope you are able to see her. So I think in this case, when the resolution plan was approved, immediately there was a lockdown. And the resolution applicant was saying that, how can I bring the money? So the creditors at the time, forming part of the monitoring committee, they took a voluntary kind of a situation and decision that, okay, you take another 1 month's time, but you please bring the entire money. And I'm not going to give a free of cost. You please pay me some minimal interest so that, the whole thing is tomorrow acceptable to all the people. So finally, it went through with 6% interest rate or 8% interest rate, I remember. Finally, the plan got implemented. So if somebody wants to help and push the resolution process for the revival of the corporate debtor, I think the role of CoC is definitely prominent in that. Yes, please, let's move. And this kind of role is more prominent in resolution plan approval matters and also in Section 230 cases. Section 230 cases also, which comes in liquidation process, right?
Yes,
Section 230 comes in liquidation process. So there again, the role of the CoC is very, very crucial, whether to defend, litigation or support the resolution applicant. So those kind of cases where role of CoC is important. I think here we have talked about within 15 days of approval of plan by the AA, RP should intimate, okay, so this is the role of the RP, we can say. Part of stakeholders consultation committee, the CoC at the time of, the beginning of the liquidation process, the whole CoC becomes the stakeholders consultation committee. And at the time also, a lot of matters have come for SEC decision. Earlier, these decisions were independently taken by the liquidator. Now, liquidators' wings have been clipped to a large extent, right? Right, sir?
Yes, sir.
So, liquidator is no more, a liquidator with all powers in one place. So, liquidator himself is now without much kind of ability to do things. So, objections to the scheme also can be filed before NCLT. Yes, many people do that. So there again, the role of, the creditors. We see in many cases, the creditors leave it to the RP or leave it to the liquidator. You please take care, sir, and unnecessarily we don't want to put one more counsel and incur the legal expenses. Next screen, sir. Is it one screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Constraints of CoC. Yes, I think this is one important area where we thought that some discussion should take place. Officials deputed to the CoC meetings on behalf of the financial creditors are not empowered to take decisions in the meetings itself. I think this is one important cause where delay happens. And I have Mr. Nandakumaran, sir, from the industry, from the banking industry. And he has been part of the CoC in big ticket cases like Jet Airways and Amtech, SR Steel, Alok Industries. So, sir, when you went to the meetings of CoC, at the time, do you think you had the power to take a decision, or you had the clearance from your competent authority, or you want to go back to that?
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Good afternoon, participants. I had the opportunity to work as a branch head of Nariman Point, Bombay, where we had many accounts in the RBI's first list and second list released in the year 2016, when the IBC process is introduced. It's a serious concern for the RPs that the financial creditors are not carrying the appropriate authority to give consent or approve or disapprove of the resolution plan or decisions taken in the CoC.
Yeah.
The reason for that the person coming and attending the meeting without carrying the authority to approve the plan or disapprove the plan. Before that, I will touch upon certain area which will help the participant to understand why that the people are not able to bring that authority to attend the meeting. In banks, the credit decisions are taken by various committee level authorities. In suppose in regional office, the regional level committee is there, regional level credit committee. Beyond that, it is a central office means head office or central office means head office level GM's committee, head office level executive directors committee. And beyond that, there is a credit approval committee CAC. Then it is MBD, management of MCB, management of management credit committee, and then it is vested with the full board. These authorities, these various credit committees are vested with a different discretionary power, over and which is the next layer of authority to take a call in this meeting. As our Rajendran sir has already pointed out, while taking a credit decision, the borrower is requested to bring at least 15 to 25% margin, and remaining only to be sanctioned by the banker to satisfy the debt equity ratio. Normally, the acceptable ratio is 1:3. Beyond that, the banker will not consider the sanction of credit proposal. By coming to these various committee, each committee, most of the committee, the MD and CEO is participating, member of the committee. There are in public sector banks in the board, there are other than that the executive directors like MD and ED, there is the Government of India director, RBI director, independent directors, shareholders director. These people are forming part of various committees. Suppose assume the credit facility sanctioned to the borrower at the inception of the company is vested with the MCB, Management Committee of Board. In that management committee of board, the members of the committees are MD and CEO, executive director, RBI director, Government of India director, one independent director. This committee only is sanctioning the credit facility to the borrower. When the company is slipped to NPA or slipped to brought to the IBC, the plan, whatever the amount that the new RA is bringing, the same committee who sanctioned the credit facility to the borrower company. There it is borrower, here it is a corporate debtor. The same committee only to decide the approval or disapproval of the resolution plan. In most of the time, the committee members may not immediately convene for giving such approval to the resolution plan or delegating their power to the person who is going to attend the meeting. Mr. Rajendran sir already told that the negatives of CoC, negative points of CoC, the RP only helping the bankers to decide whether to go positively with the resolution plan or the intricacies in the resolution plan. Yes, it is a fact. The people are often transferred in the public sector banks as per the internal as well as the CVC policy. Their stay in one branch is not more than 3 years. Suppose after he is coming and second year the proposal is sanctioned, after 2-3 years only the account will become default and the person may not be available. The person who sanctioned the credit facility only know the intricacies of the sector, particularly that sector, particularly that credit proposal, particularly the borrower, the unit and its operations, everything he only thoroughly knows. While disbursing, he will understand all the nuances in that case and become thorough. But he may not be available at the time of account slipping to NPA or meeting the default criteria. Because of that, it is an inherent hazards in the system. Another one aspect, the person is normally various agendas are bringing to the RP in the CoC meeting. Those agendas, except that the approval of RP's fees and CRP cost plus the CRP plan, resolution plan, all other things, there is no hassles are not, do not have authority at all. Those items, those agenda items are permitted to be approved by the person who is attending the meeting. though each banks are putting their own internal guidelines that not below the rank of AGM only to attend the meeting, but it is not actually happening. There is no statutory provision in the IBC also. The person necessarily to carry the concerned authority to approve the resolution plan in the meeting itself. That is why the meetings are, the members or the branch managers are permitted to attend the meeting and apprise the top management about what is the resolution plan, how to go about and all. And another one aspect,
Yes, sir.
that is why to come out of this issue, that persons necessarily to attend the meeting with powers, it should be introduced in the IBC itself, or both the regulator, the banks are regulated by RBI and this IBC is regulated by IBC, both the regulators to decide and introduce the guidelines. Then only these type of issues can be resolved. Thank you, sir.
Correct. So when we talked about guidelines, I think there are certain guidelines, and I think the importance of bringing some kind of a code of conduct for CoC started much earlier. So probably I think we are touching it in the subsequent one of the slides. Okay, here we talked about the officials deputed to CoC meetings are not empowered to take decisions in the meetings. Most of the cases they seek extension of time, or they seek voting, to be put on e-voting. Then they will be able to get the approval. And then centralized authority, as you said, committee forms. The authority is now more going towards the committee level kind of a thing. Active participation in CoC meetings missing, except in a very few high-value cases, right? I've seen in many of the meetings of the CoC where a consortium is there. All lenders, other than the leader of the consortium, will not speak at all. Very, very kind of a passive approach, passive participation. Of course, even in our program also, I expected a lot of participation, active one, but I'm not able to have that here. Awareness of legal implications also not there much with the CoC members. In one case, a recent one, I think we talked about it some time ago, that endeavor to submit the resolution plan within 15 days. Similarly, extension of time. So most of the time, the CoC members, in a very casual manner, they say, RP, please seek extension for another 60 days. Even on an application which has been closed earlier in some instances, like I said, Article 142, Supreme Court gives 6 months time. The people say that you seek 60 days more extension on a closed application, which is not possible technically. You cannot file an application like that. Provisions of IBC and regulations taken for granted many times. The impression has been given in many situations that a CARP can go beyond 330 days. 330 is not sacrosanct. Earlier it was 180 plus 90, then 60 days were added for mainly for litigations related kind of a thing. So 270 became 330. 330 was breached in one occasion, and Supreme Court said that extraneous circumstances, rarest of rare cases, like in criminal punishment where they condone the punishment, where rarest of rare cases, the death is committed to life sentence, similar to that. But today, every case is going beyond 330, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. The example we spoke about, 5 years CRP is still continuing. So that is how the CoC also believe that RP can seek some more time. We can seek another 6 months time, 3 months time. So this is the kind of situation in the CoC is happening. Okay, let's move on. Yes, commercial wisdom. This is what we have been, discussing on today's topic, where they exercise commercial wisdom and whether they are exercising it in a proper manner. So recovery is incidental That means, in an IBC matter where they are getting a resolution plan, the recovery is not coming from the corporate debtor. It is coming from the resolution applicant. And revival is the important objective. So the CoC, when they are pushing for a resolution plan, revival should have been the important objective. And if the money which is coming is not adequate or something, then in many cases they go for liquidation. And also, whenever there is some recovery, they say this 99% of this money should go to the financial creditors, because we are sacrificing a lot more of our outstandings. We have been waiting, not even one penny we have recovered. This kind of things, is happening in many of the CoC meetings, which means that, the commercial wisdom of the CoC is mostly centering around the financial creditors' interest alone, and they are not wearing the hat of the other creditors. For example, operational creditors. In section 53 of IBC, there is a waterfall mechanism. So people say that beyond the secured lenders, in many cases, the money is not trickling down to other creditors. That does not stop the CoC from approving some portion of payment for operational creditors, some for the statutory creditors. So those kind of situations I have not seen in many cases. So in fact, they go to the extent of saying that in the plan itself, you are not eligible for any payment as per the section 53 waterfall mechanism. But as a token, we are paying, instead of 10 crores of admitted dues, we pay 1 lakh. Even government dues also, they do like this. So maybe I think they are driven by the authorities, the competent authorities in the banks. That is how the commercial wisdom is being shown or demonstrated in the cases. Interest of other stakeholders is definitely, not taken care well by the CoC members, particularly operational creditors. And of late, I can say also, my colleague here, Ilamat, you can just say, in Madras High Court, one judge has openly criticized in one of his decisions that what is the reasoning behind including only financial creditors in CoC? Why not operational creditors? What sin they have done? Where they have gone wrong? Is it because they are unsecured, or they are only keeping the wheels of the commercial operations of the company cranking and working day in, day out? But you are suddenly saying that no, you have to disappear. Nothing will be given to you. What is this reasoning for this kind of legislation which has been approved by the Parliament? He was questioning, Parliament, please relook into this aspect, review your own decision. Please do something to the operational data. Am I right?
Yes,
Can you
but I think that is the entire topic actually. The commercial wisdom, and people who had given the lending to the corporate data would have in fact done a minimum analysis of the viability and feasibility of the company's operations. But operational creditors might not have that much of a knowledge either on the legal side or on the viability of the process. So effectively, the financial creditors who will form part of the committee will be able to give a better solution, right?
Better solution, correct. But then the operational creditors who supported the company without getting any security, they have relied more the company and supplied, and they are let down badly. They are left on the road.
Yes. So for that matter, even if the financial creditors having all the authority and power, being banks and high-profile financial institutions, even they are unable to take a lot of decisions in the CoC. These operational creditors might be vendors, suppliers, government departments. So will they be effectively able to give a solution in the process?
No, definitely no. I do agree with you that they cannot kind of help in the process of devising a strategy or recovery, but they can insist that their interest to be protected.
They can always be an invitee to the meetings, have a minimal representation of their concern, of their interest. But that is also one of the reasons why IBC says that the CoC will have to somewhere ensure that the other stakeholders are also protected.
Correct.
But I feel it is only in letter and not in spirit. although it was intended to take care of everybody in the process, the CoC has been given a huge responsibility, and I think it is not being properly utilized, effectively utilized.
And this is where I think there was a court decision, High Court decision, that CoC should have a code of conduct, what they should do and what they should not do, or how they should do certain things.
Right.
So should we?
When the Act itself says that the CoC consider the manner of distribution which may take into account the order of priority given in 53, then why should the CoC take a call on giving the operational creditor who are on the last row of the order of priority?
Right.
When the code is not saying why I should do that.
Code itself is saying that you see the priority and distribute accordingly. So the top layer only will be getting in most of the cases.
The code is not saying you don't distribute. It's only saying determining an order of priority, but it is not preventing you from giving some money to the operational creditor. Is it expressly preventing it? No, don't give any money to operational creditor.
That is where the lawmakers thought that the commercial wisdom will prevail, but
no, it's not commercial wisdom. It's probably commercial prudence would go to say, no, don't give where it is not to be paid. Why you should pay 1 rupee more? Don't pay. But there is a principle of equity.
Yeah, the law of equity is basically lost in the process. I believe almost every CoC, the main concern becomes only against their own admitted claim. The possibility, the vision is not too far till it reaches the bottom of the waterfall mechanism.
Correct.
I think it's a short-sighted process from the CoC's perspective.
Raghu, you said that the code only is saying go as per section 53. The code is also saying, please take care of all the interest of all the stakeholders, not all the interests.
That the code says to the resolution applicant, but it is ultimately that the CoC is taking the decision. Even if you see in practice, suppose if I am a resolution applicant, I propose, suppose 5 crore to the operational creditor. CoC will say, why 5 crore? You give 50 lakh to them because they won't get anything in the distribution waterfall mechanism. But I propose 50 lakhs. The rest go to the financial creditor who are taking the more haircut. But they don't understand that the operational creditor take the more haircut than the financial creditor. It is their own money. Here it is there. It is not it is public money where the commercial wisdom sits and takes the decision.
Niranjan, do you think that the commercial wisdom, the phrase, is it appearing anywhere in the code?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Not exactly.
No, sir.
Is it? I think it has come by way of words utilized, used in the orders, judgments, commercial wisdom. Otherwise, it is not there.
Yes.
Then, in that case, if there is a call for the CoC members to act in a transparent and equitable, fair and equitable. I think these words have come in the recent judgment, Supreme Court judgment in Jet Airways, right? The CoC should act equitably, right? And also fair and give reasons, good reasons. Fairness with good reasons. So I think there has been a slight change in the attitude expected from the CoC members. Don't be ruthless to say that commercially everything is fine. Operational creditors are destined to be pushed into the slaughterhouse. You won't get anything. You get completely washed away. But I think over the next few years, otherwise, I think there is a big call from the operational creditors. We are also people who have given support to the company. And you are suddenly saying that you are nothing to this company. You have to go by the wayside. That's not fair, no? But Parliament should have a rethinking on this.
Yes, sir, definitely, because when the days goes by, no operational creditor will supply anything on credit hereafter.
Correct.
And the functions of the company will get affected because of that.
Or operational creditors will insist on certain
securities.
right?
Yes,
Give me a guarantee that, then only I will be able to supply.
some kind of security.
It can
Yes.
have a different kind of impact on the commercial scenario in an economy, right?
Yes,
In the country.
yes.
So, but the operational creditors are given some minimum recognition that 10% of their unvetted claims are there, then they can
It is
form
there.
part of the CoC.
Yes.
I think even that provision is short-sighted because there are thousands and crores of amounts involved with the financial creditors that not even 10% can be a operational creditor claim. So I think their recognition can be increased, or rather the eligibility of them to have one or two authorized representatives in the meeting could assist.
Irrespective of them.
Similar to how a home buyer is given a representation in the committee through authorized representative who will be an IP. So that IPs are given to are presumed to know the law prevailing, the IBC, the regulations, and also the judicial proceedings. So in case they are given such kind of a representation, probably they can have a better voice in the CoC. However, the decision making would still depend on the financial creditors because voting lies in them. But at least they can try to create an impact if they are brought in the committee.
Correct.
None of the judicial judgments forced the CoC to consider some amount for the operational creditors. Sorry, operational debtors. Rarest of rare cases, one or two cases, very bare minimum amount only they recommended to consider.
Judicial.
Otherwise, that legislation should be introduced through Parliament to amend the law to consider their concern. Otherwise, it cannot be.
Can we ask some of the participants what is their view on this
please,
commercial wisdom?
Yeah.
You have any other view, or you have something else to say? What is the commercial wisdom? Should it be a collective wisdom, not only the financial creditor, other creditors together? But wherever there is a collective or committee, then the matter goes completely. Yes, sir. Mr. Rajiv Mangala, you want Sandeep Kulkarni. Can you go to the full screen?
You can stop the screen. Stop the screen for a minute.
Vijay,
We have around 30 participants.
Huh?
We have 30 participants.
Yeah.
So
Let me
30
see.
IPs are here.
Let me see some of the participants wanting to say something about what they feel commercial wisdom. Is it good or bad?
Sir, in my view, Sandeep, commercial wisdom is definitely good. It's a prerogative given to the committee of creditors, and ultimately, it is they who have suffered in the CRB process. So, without court interference, them who can negotiate with the resolution applicant and finalize the terms, depending upon its situation, the nature of liability, the NPA. And in my view, practically that happens. I haven't handled CRP yet, but I was involved in 2-3 drafting of resolution plans. So at that time, this kind of discussion, the commercial wisdom is definitely should be there and helpful to the banks, especially the financial credit.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sandeep.
I'm Rahul Jain.
Yes, Mr. Rahul Jain.
Yeah, just I have one view, which I don't know how much it will be acceptable to you all. But see, I find when we say commercial wisdom, see, these are generally bankers who are into banking industry. And of course, they give loan to all the people across the industry. And when they are supposed to take some decision based on commercial wisdom, that I sometimes find it surprising, because how will they understand how that other business is going to do good or bad, when or whether a resolution plan is going to be good or bad for that business, because they don't have any expertise whatsoever. So somewhere I find it, little weird or little surprising that a law gives them the commercial wisdom to exercise.
So you are saying that at the time of granting the loan, they did not have any idea, any kind of reason for providing such kind of financing, but suddenly they are given powers to decide as a commercial wisdom, right?
At the time of granting loan, they would look more from a financial perspective and what they are being offered, advised by other experts, and what representation businessman makes to them.
Okay.
This is what my understanding. That is what I said initially. I don't know how much my this particular point will be accepted by all or not, but somewhere I find it little kind of something which is, that banks are generally not that much knowledge oriented about the business proficiency or propriety of the business, and when they are called upon to take a decision on the whether a particular resolution plan is going to be beneficial for the business or not.
Okay.
And same thing goes with the insolvency professional. See, professional is a professional at the end of the day. He would not know the nuances of each business. Especially in India, each business is a separate vertical in itself.
Correct.
If we remove group A like Reliance and Adani's and all of them, then each business has got its own kind of what you can say pyramid, which only those businessmen know that how it functions, how it operates, where are the losses, where are the profits, where are the real losses.
Yeah.
While IPs, we are stuck with the books of accounts and the financial statement and the legal documents which are being prepared. But what is the inside story? I think uh, IPs are also not in a true sense. They also know about it. So somewhere I find this thing to be little unobvious about the insolvency law. This is just my
Mr. Rahul, I agree that the IP will have limit scope in business understanding, but the provisions, that is why the provision says that he can appoint professionals to help him in getting the resolutions done.
But of course, who will pay for it?
So that is the process, but the law envisages that the commercial wisdom, sir. It is the CoC has to take a call on that, but you cannot rely that as Rahul said that the RP cannot alone will take the company into blues. But with the professional, as Mr. Rahul was telling that every business has its own verticals and nuances. Some experts, supposing say if it is in an oil field, and anybody who is experienced in the oil field only can know the nuances and how it can be better managed at that time when a company comes into a CRP.
Correct.
So the law envisages that the professional can appoint or have help from the other professionals. But it is for the commercial, it is for the CoC to allow him to do all these things.
I agree, sir. I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree. But still, whatever little kind of hesitance I have about these kind of provisions, I have just expressed my views. That's it.
Okay, Mr. Rahul, we appreciate. Of course, we couldn't see you. You are from which place, Rahul? You are from which place, sir?
I am from Mumbai, sir. Mumbai.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, sometimes I tend to believe the words commercial wisdom more applies to the borrowers. So they take a commercial wisdom whether to pay back the loan or not. So commercial wisdom, sometimes they say,
True.
not pay.
I agree, sir. I agree.
Let the company go through the process of CIRP, all those stuff. Let me be safe. And we have come across a case of a personal guarantor. We heard that whenever you go for a borrowing from a bank, please ensure that you don't have any asset in your name.
Yes.
So it's a commercial wisdom, right? So, this is how it is happening. And there are a lot of cases where people are believing that IBC is, gaming a lot of companies, good companies who are not able to pay back their debt. They are going for a dirt cheap valuation and changing hands. And there are many people who have a kind of a war chest. They have a lot of monies to have as much as possible IBC companies, good companies, low valuation, please go and grab them. So this is also happening, some kind of situation in the IBC market, because at one stroke of a resolution plan with a 32A, section 32A protection, I think you can just throw away government dues, right? You can throw away operational creditors, and you can go up to 95% sacrifice. You can stretch the banks. And the bank, okay.
Destroying the entire system.
No, it's a value creation for the new investor. He is buying 100 crores worth of assets at 5 crores or 10 crores, right? So his net worth goes up immediately. I have bought an asset 10 crores. My purchase value, intrinsic value of the asset is 100 crores. So he creates 90 crores value.
Yes, sir. That's why I get amazed by IBC law every time I think about it.
Correct, sir. Correct. I think this is requiring some kind of a relook onto the kind of. I think IBC amendment is on the cards, right? A lot of provisions are going for a rejig now. I don't know when it is going to come, but all said and done, maybe I think some of my colleagues and participants here will appreciate. IBC has put a big notice for the promoters that if you fail to pay the loans, then your company will go away from you. I think to that extent, credit discipline has improved. Would you agree with me or not?
I agree, sir. I agree.
There are good companies, very good companies have changed hands at very good valuation, and the promoters are all now licking their wounds that, probably I should have done something else. Otherwise, I would have got my company back. Today, they are not, as a shareholder, we were talking about operational creditors, right?
Yes.
Government dues.
Yes.
The shareholders have been just got extinguished.
Yes, sir. At the last.
So many, I think the whole of IBC, the voice for the shareholders is completely shut down, right?
Yes. Yes.
Completely gone away. So interesting, good, very good. So we will go back to our presentation, Niranjan. Maybe a little more interaction might be possible with the other participants. Only few of them have now expressed their views. So, right, this we have discussed at length. We'll go to the next one. Providing a level playground to resolution applicants and also the promoters if viable proposals are received as per law. I think we are touching upon 12A, section 12A withdrawal of the IBC process. A lot of things are happening today in this field where the directors are part of the CoC meetings and they know what is the plan value coming. And finally, before the plan is getting approved or being filed with the NCLT, they come up with a beautiful section 12A proposal which says, I'll pay 1 rupee more or 1 lakh more than the resolution plan. Please give me my company back. So these things, how they are going to be dealt with, lots of cases have come. I think recent case is that your Byju's. Byju's case, probably the members may be aware, BCCI 150 odd crores operational creditor, and the company has come into IBC. Suddenly the promoter says, I have paid this money, so company will come out of IBC. NCLAT also puts the rubber stamp. Yes, okay, company relieved. 12A approval done by NCLAT. But Supreme Court comes down heavily saying that no, what you are doing is not correct. So number one, 12A is the exclusive domain of NCLT. I have seen cases of 12A or withdrawal done by Mr. Mukhopadhyay when he was the NCLAT chairperson there, using his own rights. So those kind of situations were there happening earlier. Even Supreme Court also sometimes 12A they have approved. If I remember right, invoking Article 142, their inherent power. They have done in many cases, they have done it. But of late, we are seeing some kind of quorum or some kind of order that NCLAT let it take care of its own domain. What are all the provisions? So recently we had one issue of this 12A in one of the cases handled by us, by our team, that a 12A proposal, after the CoC has approved a resolution plan, whether a 12A can be considered. So this issue went up to Supreme Court. So they were also referring to decisions like this Byju's was one decision. Prior to that, also there were one decision about the 12A proposal. I think finally they decided that no, we are not the forum to take a call on this 12A OTS during this process. You go back to NCLT. So the commercial wisdom now becomes very, very important. Whether after approving a plan, are you looking at a 12A proposal? Then what happens to the resolution applicant? He has been following the whole process, involving his time, efforts, money, all those things have gone into this. 2 years, 3 years, performance, bank guarantee, everything he has given. His plan is before the NCLT, approved by the CoC already. But these promoters are coming and giving a better plan, far better than the resolution plan. So commercial wisdom again. So can the commercial wisdom overlook the processes laid by the code or the regulations?
Again, I would say the maximization of value.
It's not maximization of disputes. Then this guy who has been waiting, resolution applicant will file a case.
So, but the law doesn't stop the promoters from approaching, right? Because 12A provisions, when we read it along with the regulation 30A of CRP, subsequent to EOI or prior to EOI, that is all the requirement says. There is no end. There is no end period specified. So the promoters are also not barred.
No, subsequent to EOI, when they go,
90% approval is required.
It is only requiring why the proposal is being accepted has to be explained. Am I right?
Yes.
There is a requirement for the CoC.
Yes, sir.
The CoC to say after
justification for reason for accepting the proposal after EOI has been issued.
Correct. But it is not saying after CoC approval of a resolution plan, if 12A is coming, it is not asking.
No such.
So some expressions, some views are being stated that if the authorities, if the regulations making body, that is IBBI, wanted to have a situation of even after the CoC approves the plan, a 12A can come, they could have stated that. They did not state.
They did not.
But that is what it is there in the regulation, that the CoC cannot sit and decide on a matter which disturbs the resolution plan which has already been approved. So after approval of a resolution plan, CoC cannot sit and decide on another proposal which will affect the resolution plan already passed by the CoC. That is there in the regulation.
Okay, so when you say that CoC has approved a plan, it's a kind of a contract between the CoC and the SRA or resolution applicant, right?
Yes.
And without his consent, CoC cannot go back.
Yes.
And in any case, SRA cannot go back.
Without anybody's consent, nobody can go back, because once they approve, applicant is also, he cannot withdraw, he cannot go back, because there are judgments which say that plan cannot be withdrawn. So he is bound by his submissions made to the CoC. CoC has already voted and approved a resolution plan. According to the regulations, they cannot take any decision which will impact the resolution plan which is approved. So it is only in the hands of the judiciary, either the NCLT if it goes on appeal, and CLAT. Thereafter, if it goes on appeal, the Supreme Court. There is no coming back once they approve. This is in letter. In spirit, like you rightly pointed out, there are various situations where even the judiciary is giving space for exploring the opportunities of this maximization of value problem.
Maximization, there cannot be end, You approve this fellow who is coming with a 12A, another guy will come, he will say, sir,
I will give you more.
I know this industry well. Sorry, I was away from this country. Suddenly I came to know of this. This is a wonderful asset. I give you 100 crores more, then what happens?
I think the judiciary has
They
already
have-
paved way for all this. They say timeline is discretionary, not mandatory. They say extraordinary circumstances, I'll extend your timeline.
Is there any
CoC is
natural
commercial.
justice playing here?
It is, sir. It
Wherever
is. You know
the-
where the natural justice is playing. I will say that it is being taken care this way. There is an resolution applicant whose plan is approved by CoC. Later comes the promoter. So judiciary exercises natural justice by hearing all the resolution applicant, the RP, the new person giving a 12A proposal, the promoter, the committee of creditors. Everybody is heard. What more can natural justice do?
So Ilamati, do you suggest when there is a situation like this, a plan has been approved by the CoC pending before NCLT. Promoter comes with a 12A, right? Let us assume one more person is coming with yet another improved proposal. We please put all three of them. Let us put all three of them in one situation. You give the best. We'll give you an opportunity again.
So your situation is post approval of one plan?
Post approval of one plan.
I think as per the law it should not be done. One, as Raghu sir suggested, there is a regulation saying CoC cannot decide anything which will disturb the plan which is approved. Secondly, the RFRP regulations will say that the CoC can consider the plans which is being submitted by the resolution applicants who are finding place in the final qualified resolution applicant list. If I'm not wrong, I think 39 regulations will say that 1B will say that only the people who are finding place in the final qualified resolution applicant list can submit a plan, and only that plan can be considered by the CoC. So in your situation which you gave us right now, the CoC, if they are going to consider a plan as well as a proposal subsequent to one approval, it means they are violating the code. That is where I think RP's role will also pitch in to explain to the creditors about the law which is prevailing. But in practice, I understand that NCLT, if somebody is going to approach NCLT, they are giving some window for the CoC to exercise their wisdom and come back.
So the regulations are clear with the timelines. Only the judiciary, where because
campus with the
everyone takes their own decisions. One NCLT takes a decision and another takes. For example, in Valalar case, this Shiva Industries, Valalar RCK, Supreme Court says that whatever the CoC takes a decision, it is final. But in Byju's, they say that you go back to the CoC. But there in Byju's, the CoC was not formed before the settlement was made. But subsequently, the CoC was formed.
They permitted to form.
They permitted to form, and they say that you go to CoC and take a decision where it requires 90% of the approval of the CoC. So it is the judiciary who are making the things more hasty than.
You are faulting with the judicial wisdom. You are finding fault with the judicial wisdom or judicial. Sometimes people.
It is, I think, required so that the very preamble of the code can be protected.
No, the mandatory things are only to the RP and all.
So the insolvency professionals are the people who are left in the lurch.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Good, sir. Good. Okay, we'll go to the this paragraph we have seen. Prompt representation in CoC, participating in discussions, voting in the meeting, or within reasonable time through e-voting window. All these things, definitely constitute the commercial wisdom, because the timelines, it has got a lot of impact on the timelines. Otherwise, they just drag the issues to a later date, and completely it goes thing. Okay, next, please. CoC to exhibit fairness with good reasoning. This is the important extract from the recent Supreme Court judgment in Jet Airways case, where the former Chief Justice of India, I think Mr. TOIC was there, right? In that case. So Sneha, would you like to say in this judgment, Jet Airways case, why the Supreme Court came down heavily on the CoC?
Sir, this is a case decided by full bench. Former Justice is the one of the member. The case in the case of SBI and others.
Okay.
This is the consortium of Mr. Murari Lal Jalan and Mr. Florine Fritz and another. This case was decided on 7th November 2024, recently only. The main issue discussed and decided by the Supreme Court is adjustment of performance band guarantee with tranche of resolution plan payment is impermissible under CIRP regulation, and timely implementation of the resolution plan is also one of the underlying objectives of the court.
Correct.
This is the main issue discussed in this case and decided by the Supreme Court. The corporate data name is Jet Airways India Limited. In this case, the resolution, the Jet Airways came into CIRB on 2019, but the resolution plan was approved by CoC and adjudicating authority in 2021
Itself.
The resolution plan was pending more than 5 years for implementation. After many extensions, they got many extensions to implement the resolution plan in NCLT and NCLAT also.
Okay.
Later, the creditors went to the Supreme Court for this.
Getting further extensions and allowing the persons, the people. But Supreme Court came down heavily on the CoC also. How many times you will give more time and adjustment of performance guarantee and all? And they were saying that, the asset value also will further deteriorate if you don't go for early liquidation. Delayed liquidation itself is dangerous. It erodes value, ruins value. So I think that was the case,
Yes, sir. The Supreme Court, after observations, made suggestions to the process of court for effective implementation to NCLT, NCLAT, Committee of Creditors, Successful Resolution Applicant, and IBBA also. Bench deemed it absolutely necessary to bring out to light certain deficiencies in the IBC, which require immediate action.
Okay.
Hence, the provisions of the code, along with behavioral and ethical discipline, is especially required from the key participants of the IBC who are centered to the design. The adjudicating authorities, corporate debtors, resolution professionals, and the Committee of Creditors and Successful Resolution Applicants approved valuers and liquidators also.
Oh my God, 6 people they have said, huh?
Yes, sir. And approval of resolution plan is the commercial wisdom of CoC. Even AA cannot interfere in the wisdom of the CoC. The resolution plan approved under 31 of the code, which is AA have only limited judicial review review is available with them. After made observations, Supreme Court gave some guidelines for many of them, especially for CoC. The decision to restrict the scope of interference on the commercial wisdom of CoC was conscious and possibly taken bearing in mind the time delays that may arise out of the subsequent adjudication of the resolution plans of the CoC. The commercial wisdom of CoC has achieved paramount status, immune from any judicial intervention to ensure the completion of respective processes within the timelines prescribed. After that, the CoC exercise their commercial wisdom and approve or reject the resolution plan placed before them, exhibiting fairness and with good reasons. Further, the guidelines will explain the central government or the IBBI explore the possibilities of better enforcement of the standards and practices enumerated in the guidelines through an independent mechanism under auspices of oversight committee instead of making them self-regulatory.
Okay, so Sneha, I think this commercial wisdom, even though there has been some guidelines given by IBBI as a self-regulatory mechanism, but Supreme Court feels that there has to be an oversight body, and all these good practices, standards are properly followed by the CoC. I think there is an important requirement mentioned by the Supreme Court itself. I believe in one of the colloquiums of the NCLT members, this decision of Supreme Court has been discussed at length because it is making a huge kind of remarks, unpalatable remarks on the appointment of NCLT members, how
A
they
lot of
spend
things
time.
has been brought into this.
How much time they spend on
Yes,
the day-to-day hearings, why not they are fully utilizing, all kinds of scathing remarks have been made by the Supreme Court on this case. So, okay, so here we talk about the guidelines. What are the guidelines we are talking about? Can we go to the next screen?
No, we have few more decisions on
Okay.
how the commercial wisdom is.
Okay.
So do we want the order?
No.
No, we'll move ahead with the other important cases.
Yeah, we go to the important cases concerning commercial wisdom. Next slide. And then this IBBA requirement, IBBA guidelines also. Okay, Innovative Industries versus ICICI Bank, 31st August 2017. What was the main theme in this decision?
So with respect to innovative industries, this was one of the first judgments by Honorable Supreme Court when IBC came into force, sir.
Okay.
So this was the judgment which upheld the intention of the BLRC report. So initially BLRC report said that once a company falls into default, the management should be changed and the committee of creditors should take over the management of the corporate debtor.
Okay.
So that concept of taking over of the corporate debtor by CoC was upheld in this innovative industries judgment, sir.
Okay.
So and they also upheld that important business decision makings, everything should be done by the CoCs, and all the guidelines how the CoC should make decisions, everything was upheld in this innovative industries.
Okay. Swiss ribbons, we spoke about the intelligible differential already.
And that aspect, intelligible differential, and there is no violation of Article 14 just because of differentiation between financial creditors and operation creditors. All that was upheld in Swiss ribbons, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So many times the constitutional validity of IBC also was challenged, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. So IBC has passed all those tests, right? I think the Parliament, even Supreme Court has put a stamp. But on this operational creditors, probably I think some decision might come later, right? I think there is a call.
Needs a concrete challenge before them.
Yeah. Okay. CoC of SR Steel India versus Satish Kumar is an important case, I think, right?
For upholding the commercial wisdom of CoC, it is mandate. It is the topmost priority. All those landmark judgments are in SR Steel.
I think in this case, SR Steel, interestingly, the financial creditors initially stated that most of the monies will go to them. Operational creditors will not get anything. So I think within the financial creditors itself, there was some kind of a differentiation was made. Secured, unsecured, they were being paid something less, more.
Yes, sir.
They were being challenged in the Supreme Court. It went to NCLAT. NCLAT, I remember those days, in this case, there was a direction that whatever percentage you are paying to the financial creditors, you should pay to the operational creditors also. So suddenly there was a mayhem. So how come, operational creditors are also eligible for so much percentage? Then where from this money will come? Who will pay? And whether the scheme itself will survive or not? They went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said very clearly, no, nothing doing. Don't interfere with all these matters. Give CoC their powers. Ask them to be whatever they are doing is good for the company, good for the industry, good for the economy. Please allow them what they are doing. So I think in this case, the differentiation of how much can be paid to operational creditors, meeting with the requirements of the court, I think that was also allowed. Not that everybody should be paid the same percentage of recovery on the admitted claims. So differential amounts possible. Yes, we go to the next one, sir. Yeah, you want to say something? Decisions by Honorable Supreme Court, a few more of them. Ramakrishna Forgings versus Ravindra Lunkar RP of ACAL Limited.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is the main
with respect to this case of Ramakrishna Forgings, it was upheld that even after repeated negotiations, when a resolution plan is submitted and if it has been approved by the committee of creditors with a majority vote, such commercial wisdom cannot be gone into by the adjudicating authority and they hold good. So now with respect to this judgment, the facts are that the CoC has approved a resolution plan with about 89%. And then when it's gone for approval for NCLT, NCLT had said that there are few assets of the corporate debtor which need to be revalued. So when that approval of NCLT is kept in abeyance, the resolution applicants went to the Honorable Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said that such revaluation cannot be ordered by NCLT. It is the commercial wisdom of the CoC who has already approved it, and everything is done. Already the basic requirement of 2 valuations, which is mandatory to be done by the RP, is done, and based on that, everything is processed. And once the plan is submitted and CoC has approved, the adjudicating authority cannot go into the facts of the case unless there is a violation of section 30 or 31, mandatory requirements of violation. Other things NCLT cannot go into it, sir.
Okay, what about Ashish Sharaf versus Bhuvan Madan?
So in this case, the Supreme Court upheld the decision of NCLAT.
Okay.
Where the appellate authority stated that CoC holds the responsibility of making business decisions.
Okay.
Such as approving or rejecting the resolution plans based on their commercial wisdom. This decision involves assessing the feasibility of the resolution plan, and it is considered as non-judiciable.
Okay.
Therefore, the commercial wisdom of the CoC cannot be challenged, even if they reject the settlement proposal submitted by the suspended directors and approve the resolution plan proposed by another party.
Okay.
So the CoC has authority to decide such matters.
Okay.
And this even prior to this case, the Supreme Court dealt with the important question of judicial review of commercial decisions of CoC in Sashidhar versus IOB case, where it declared that the CoC's commercial wisdom is not judiciable, and that neither the NCLT nor the NCLAT has the authority to reverse it.
Okay.
So further, the amendment to section 30/4 of IBC clarified the factors that CoC must consider when evaluating a resolution plan, but does not allow the tribunals to question the decision of CoCs. CoC are also not required to provide the clarification or justification for the rejection of resolution plans.
I think today in every order of NCLT approving a resolution plan, this decision of Sashidhar will be there, no?
Yes, sir. Because it's like giving utmost supremacy to the commercial wisdom of CoC, that even judiciary is staying away from the decisions taken. But I think this cannot be applied as a blanket hold to all cases, because I think judicial intervention is required in a lot of cases where things can go in any direction.
Yeah, I think one good example of that case, M.K. Rajagopalan in Apu Hotel's case, where the plan was approved by the NCLT, but NCLAT will it turn it down?
Yes, yes.
NCLAT will say that certain requirements have not been complied with. The resolution plan would have undergone some changes, but the changes would not have gone to the committee, the CoC.
Yes.
So NCLAT would have said that, for want of this, how it can be taken as the commercial wisdom. Even Supreme Court also would have upheld that decision.
Yeah.
So commercial wisdom is good.
Supreme Court has stated that commercial wisdom of the CoC cannot be interfered.
Correct.
Except the limited scope with regard to 32 of the IBC.
Okay.
So if AA is satisfied that the resolution plan is done, is meeting the 32 requirement of the court, then it can go. In the M.K. Rajagopal case, the 32 was not complied. That is why the Supreme Court was going with the NCLAT's decision of reversing the commercial wisdom of CoC.
Right. Okay. Niranjan, we'll go to the next slide. This we talked about it, Valalar CK also, and also.
Valalar Shiva Industry is a unique case where the CoC, there was no resolution plan, and the promoter has given a settlement, 12A settlement. When the company has filed the liquidation, the RP has filed the liquidation. Thereafter, the CoC came to approve the settlement plan given by the Shiva Industries. And but the NCLAT would have not approved, stating that no money has been received by the CoC.
NCLT itself will not approve it.
Will not approve the 12A settlement, stating that it is not a settlement. It is a resolution plan, akin of a resolution plan, where no settlement has been made, and the promoter has given a resolution plan in the name of settlement.
It's a sham. I think they will call it as a sham.
Yes. NCLAT also upheld that, but ultimately the Supreme Court stated that commercial wisdom, whatever it is, CoC has been given all information and they have taken a decision based on their discussion and whatever they sacrifice. So it cannot be questioned unless it violates 32.
Correct.
So that was upheld.
Yeah. Any feedback or any views the participants have on these cases? Whatever we have discussed, you are welcome, sir. Please go to the next slide. Oh, one more decision by XIII. This is about the plan value being less than the liquidation value. Yes.
Yes, sir. So now with respect to this case in XIII, it is stated that IBC nowhere does not expressly state that a resolution plan value should be more and over above the liquidation value. Even if the liquidation value is higher and the plan value is less, it is upon the commercial wisdom of the CoC to take, and if they approve it, NCLT must approve it and they must not go into the merits, sir.
Okay. So this has come recently, no?
Yes, sir.
The year beginning, right?
Yes, sir.
About a year back, 11th January. Interestingly, in 2018, many of the CoC members were afraid to approve a resolution plan if the value is below the liquidation value.
Yes, sir.
We had two interesting cases where they specifically said, sir, tomorrow who will be answerable to vigilance, CBI, CAG? Because banks are all subjected to all these 3 Cs. They were afraid to take a call. You are saying that even below liquidation value, you can approve it, but tomorrow you will go away. And people will knock my doors after my retirement, 5 years after, they will come and tell me, how did you approve this plan? So they asked me, I was the RP at the time, they said that let it find the liquidation value. Let the company go into liquidation, let it find its value. Sorry, we are not here to approve a resolution plan, whatever you are saying. But today the situation is changing. There are many cases where plans are being approved much lower than the liquidation value. But it is giving another paradoxical question, dissenting creditors. The dissenting creditors get more because the liquidation value is more. So something new is happening on that. Okay, let's go ahead. The clock is ticking now, 4:45. We'll try to finish it off at 5. Discussion paper for Code of Conduct for CoC. So we used to talk about this topic, CoC for CoC. Code of Conduct for CoC. So this happened not now or in the last 1 or 2 years, Raghu. This happened much earlier, discussion paper, right?
Yes, sir. In 2021, IBBI came with a discussion paper suggesting for a code of conduct for the CoC. Based on that, the regulation was amended to state that...
as per the code,
yes, sir.
Code of conduct or something, huh?
Yes. Actually, prior to that, there were circulars to state that how it is to be done. CoC members should come with approval, all those things.
Correct.
IBBI circulars will have the instructions.
Yeah.
But in 2021, when the discussion paper was introduced, Regulation 17 was amended.
Yeah. This Jet Airways decision captures the guidelines of IBBI.
The Regulation 17 was amended to state that Committee of Creditors shall discharge, function and exercise powers under the code and these regulations in respect of the CRP process in compliance with guidelines as may be issued by the board. So based on this, the IBBI has revoked all its circulars, which they have already issued in 2018.
Correct.
But the code was not implemented. Thereafter, in one of the High Court decisions, the Delhi High Court decision.
One, I think.
The Delhi High Court decision, the High Court came down heavily and stated that a code of conduct or a framework guidelines should be issued within 3 months by the IBBI. Based on that, guideline was issued in August 24 by the IBBI.
Yeah, correct.
2 pages.
Yeah, correct. So the CoC for CoC, Raghu, initially there was some kind of a talk, and then circular was issued by IBBA. Then they said that the CoC shall discharge their obligations as per the guidelines. They brought it in the regulations, and the circulars were withdrawn. I remember one of those earlier days, circular will be like, financial creditors who are attending the meetings of CoC should come prepared with authority, and they should take decision in the meeting itself.
Yes.
It will be like that. I think we used to quote it in the notice itself.
Yes.
Nowadays, I think we are not able to quote that because the circular has been withdrawn now. So that was the case when the CoC, when these meetings are being conducted, they have to come prepared. And we used to counter them sometimes. Why you have not seen it, the agenda? Why you are coming without reading the papers and all? But later, I think it got diluted. The banks were saying that no, we have so many protocols, so much of hierarchy is there. Then this court, Delhi High Court, came down, and I really liked this kind of thing. Maybe when somebody, you want to regulate them, there is some kind of a protest. Why are you regulating me? Do I not know what I should do with? The banks are under RBI. The banks are under IBA. So suddenly, it was protested.
Yes.
So finally, the code of conduct became a kind of somebody, treading on others' toes. So people were very sensitive then. No, let us put something for the sake of putting something, put beautifully. And I think it was a kind of about 6 or 7 broad parameters. Can you show the next screen? Next slide. Yes, this is the code of conduct written in 4 lines. Objectivity, integrity, independence, impartiality, professional competence, participation, timelines, confidentiality, feasibility, and viability. These are all the points which have been made, beautifully drafted. So as on date, these are all the guidelines, and it is having no teeth. Has it got any legal force on them?
So guidelines is like a delegated or like subordinate.
So there in the regulations. It stays there still.
It is not
Yes,
the
sir.
regulation.
Huh?
Is it brought
there,
into
sir.
the regulation?
Yes,
Can you please read that regulations? 18 further.
Yes, 17.
CRP regulations, right?
CRP regulation 17(2). 17(1)(a). The committee and members of the committee shall discharge functions and exercise powers under the code and these regulations in respect of CRP in compliance with the guidelines as may be issued by the board.
When was that amended?
This is amended in 2021, sir.
21. And code, this guidelines came
2024.
August 24.
Yes. That is what I said. This amendment was made based on the discussion paper because the regulation was supposed to be amended with the code of conduct for the CoC. But subsequently, the code of conduct for CoC was not issued because of the disputes.
Possibly there can be a code of conduct for SEC, Stakeholders Consultation Committee. No.
No, sir. No,
As
sir.
of now, no.
Huh?
As of now, no.
But it can be made applicable to them as
Can
well.
be made applicable. Yeah. But in SEC, we'll have all other stakeholders, not just the financial creditors or CoC.
Oh,
Sir,
that's what.
so they
All
all
these things
can
will
be
be
bound
applicable.
by
The process in SEC, I would say it is a difference, sir, because here the commercial wisdom is given to the CoC, they take the decision. But in liquidation, the liquidator, they only advise the liquidator, but whatever happens is in a transparent manner where you are putting the asset in for auction and the market is tested there. So there is no inbuilt decision is taken by the group of SEC.
Okay.
The last 2 words, feasibility and viability will not applicable for the liquidation.
Confidence is also not there.
No, sir. Even in liquidation also, Section 230.
Yes.
Their feasibility, viability might be an issue.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Sharing of information. I think that is one important thing.
Confidentiality.
Sharing of information was that, one thing, probably I think confidentiality is there. Sharing of information. Okay. Good, sir. Good. Let's go to the next point. I think we have deliberated on this matter. Treatment of statutory dues under approval of resolution plan and during liquidation employee dues. I think this is one element where sometimes the CoC, they are not taking a correct decision. They say that PF dues and all, they are treated as operational credit loss, but of late, a lot of other decisions have come. Even
that is where I think judicial activism has helped in setting right the commercial wisdom that you have to consider the PF dues.
I think Jet Airways went down.
Because of the mandate given by the Supreme Court, because the PF dues was huge and that was not factored in the plan. When that was made mandatory, the applicant suffered on bringing in the money.
Additional amount they had to bring in.
Yes.
And that became the last nail on their cabin, on the coffins. Okay. Reasons for liquidations: in most of the cases, CoC decides to liquidate the CD during CARP under section 33(2). Probably, I think we wanted to highlight in many cases CoC, in their wisdom, pushed the company to liquidation process. AA did not receive any resolution plan for approval. Those are all about 679 cases, almost 1/3. And AA rejected the resolution plan, few cases. CD contravened provisions of resolution plan, minimal, I think about 30 cases are there. Okay, go ahead. Yes, I think we have come to the end of our presentation. We would like to factor about 5-10 minutes for interaction. If somebody wants to raise some issues, please do raise. We have seen very minimal, thanks to some of the participants like Mr. Rahul Jain and one more gentleman, Sandeep Kulkarni. Any other person would like to ask any questions? Mr. Rajiv?
Sir, it was a highly informative and innovative session. We got a lot of information and clarity about CoC constitution, its ethics, latest judgments, everything you have clarified in such a simple and clarification. I really appreciate you, sir.
Good, sir. Good. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I request for sharing the PPT as well.
Okay. So Rajiv, you are in Delhi, right?
Pardon?
You are in Delhi, Mr. Rajiv?
Yes, please. I am advocate on record in Supreme Court, apart from being IP.
Very good, sir. Very good. Very good. You would have definitely come across, kind of cases in Supreme Court regarding this commercial wisdom, CoC related issues.
Apart from corporate matters, I have a deal with civil matters, civil matters, criminal matters, writs, and some PILs as well.
Good. Good, sir.
I have very few corporate matters, especially of liquidation of bankruptcy.
Okay. Good. Good. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Rajiv.
Thank you very much.
Any other participants, sir, wanting to ask any questions? So on a Saturday, the weekend, and late in the evening, it would be unfair, and it's definitely not a commercial wisdom. So may I request Mr. Saurabh Kailash, if you are there, probably we can just say that the proceedings are coming to a conclusion, unless someone else want to ask any few parting queries. Mr. Niranjan, it looks like you want to say something.
So you're not audible, sir.
Saurabh, are you there, sir?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Mr. Saurabh, just place a request to the audience. that, the last 5 minutes we are here to close this session. We wanted to ask any participation from the team members, from the participants here.
Okay, so like the participant will like ask you themselves, but thank you for so much, Mr. S. Rajendran, for sharing your valuable insight and expertise with such during the session on decoding the rules and commercial wisdom of CoC. Your knowledge is particular in expertise and exchanging delivery have provided us with a deep understanding of this subject, leaving us enriched and inspired. We truly appreciate the time and efforts you have taken to guide us through this complex yet crucial topic. On behalf of everyone present, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to you for making this workshop a success. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
Saurabh just wanted to confirm by when we will get the confirmation of attendance of CPRs by mail.
Actually, our team will be get back to you on this topic. If you have any queries, you can drop a mail on our official email website.
Okay.
You want to say something? Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.